For the last time, surrender! Death first!
Will you promise not to hurt him?
What was that? What was that?
If we surrender.
It's been called the perfect fairy tale for people who don't believe in fairy tales. The Princess Bride didn't just entertain, it redefined what adventure, romance, and comedy could achieve when perfectly balanced. This tale of true love, revenge, and storytelling magic created a cultural phenomenon that transcended generations. Today, we're entering the world of Florin to uncover the inconceivable secrets behind Rob Reiner's masterpiece that proved fairy tales could work for everyone. The book that almost never became a movie. William Goldman spent 16 years trying to adapt his own beloved novel into a screenplay, facing constant rejection from studios who couldn't understand how to market a fairy tale satire. The book had been a bestseller, but Hollywood executives struggled with its unique blend of adventure, romance, and self-aware comedy that seemed to mock the very genres it celebrated. The project languished in development hell as various directors and stars attached themselves before departing. Studios worried that the story was too clever for mainstream audiences while being too sincere for sophisticated viewers. The fairy tale elements seemed childish, while the satirical aspects appeared too adult for family entertainment. Goldman's breakthrough came when he developed the grandfather-grandson framing device, which wasn't prominent in the original novel. This contemporary wrapper gave studios a way to market the film. It became a story about storytelling, rather than just a fairy tale. The frame allowed audiences to enjoy the adventure while maintaining ironic distance, solving the marketing puzzle that had stymied executives for over a decade. Rob Reiner's involvement finally gave the project credibility and momentum. But even then, the film was considered a risky venture that might satisfy no audience completely. Cary Elwes becomes the perfect Wesley. Cary Elwes was virtually unknown when cast as Wesley, chosen from hundreds of actors because he possessed the rare combination of classical good looks, comedic timing, and genuine romantic sincerity that the role demanded. His British theatrical training gave him the technical skills for both sword fighting and heightened dialogue delivery.
Please understand, I hold you in the highest respect.
Elwes spent months preparing for the physical demands, working with fencing masters and stunt coordinators to achieve the fluid sword work that makes Wesley appear effortlessly skilled. His natural left-handedness actually helped with the famous duels choreography, allowing him to perform complex moves that right-handed actors might struggle with. The chemistry between Elwes and Robin Wright developed naturally during their extensive rehearsal period. Reiner encouraged them to find genuine affection within the fairy tale framework, understanding that the story's emotional core needed to feel real despite its fantastical elements. Elwes brought subtle humor to Wesley without undermining the character's romantic appeal. His delivery of iconic lines like, "As you wish," balanced sincerity with just enough self-awareness to acknowledge the story's fairy tale nature while maintaining emotional authenticity. This performance established the template for self-aware romantic heroes in subsequent films. Mandy Patinkin's Inigo Montoya obsession. Mandy Patinkin's preparation for Inigo Montoya became deeply personal when he connected the character's quest for vengeance with his own grief over his father's death from cancer. This emotional foundation transformed what could have been a simple revenge subplot into the film's most powerful dramatic element. Patinkin trained for months with Olympic fencing coaches, achieving a level of skill that allowed him to perform most of his own sword work. His dedication to authenticity was so intense that he often continued practicing, even after filming wrapped, becoming genuinely obsessed with mastering the techniques his character would have learned. The famous, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya," speech became a cultural phenomenon, partly because of Patinkin's emotional investment in the moment. He approached the confrontation with Count Rugen as a real opportunity for catharsis, channeling his own unresolved grief into Inigo's long-awaited revenge. Patinkin's Spanish accent and passionate delivery created a character who felt authentic despite the fairy tale setting. His performance grounded the revenge storyline in genuine emotion, while maintaining the film's overall tone of knowing adventure. This balance made Inigo both heroic and human, creating one of cinema's most beloved supporting characters. Andre the Giant's gentle giant magic casting. Andre the Giant as Fezzik was inspired precisely because his real-life persona contradicted expectations about his intimidating physical presence. Standing over 7 feet tall and weighing over 500 pounds, Andre was famous worldwide as a wrestling superstar, but those who knew him described a gentle, intelligent man who delighted in making others laugh. Andre's physical limitations due to his gigantism actually enhanced Fezzik's character. His careful, deliberate movements suggested someone aware of his own strength and determined not to cause unintended harm. This physical restraint made Fezzik's gentleness feel authentic rather than contrived. The genuine affection between Andre and his co-stars, particularly Robin Wright, translated directly to screen chemistry. Andre would use his massive hands to keep Wright warm between takes, and his protective instincts toward the smaller cast members mirrored Fezzik's role as the group's protector. Andre's limited acting experience was compensated by his natural charisma and the perfect match between his personality and character. His rhyming dialogue was delivered with childlike delight that made Fezzik's simple wisdom feel profound rather than simplistic. This casting choice proved that sometimes the right person matters more than traditional acting credentials. The sword fighting that set new standards. The Princess Bride's sword fighting sequences, choreographed by legendary stunt coordinator Bob Anderson, revolutionized how movie duels could serve both spectacle and character development. Anderson had worked on Star Wars and Highlander, but The Princess Bride required fighting that was simultaneously athletic, comedic, and emotionally meaningful. The famous left-handed revelation in the Inigo-Wesley duel required months of preparation as both actors learned to fence convincingly with both hands. This wasn't just a plot twist, it demonstrated how the characters were testing each other's abilities while building mutual respect through combat. Anderson designed each fight to reveal character traits and advance relationships. The duel between Inigo and Wesley becomes a conversation conducted through swordplay, with each man gradually recognizing the other's skill and honor. Their growing admiration transforms potential enemies into allies through the language of expertly choreographed violence. The technical achievement was remarkable. Both actors performed most of their own sword work, creating fluid, believable combat that looks effortless while requiring months of intensive training. This authentic approach to stage combat influenced countless subsequent films and established new standards for actor preparation in action sequences. Rob Reiner's directorial balancing act. Rob Reiner faced the nearly impossible challenge of directing a film that needed to work as sincere fairy tale, knowing satire, thrilling adventure, and touching romance simultaneously. His solution was to approach each element with complete commitment while trusting that the story's internal logic would unify the disparate tones. Reiner insisted that every fantastic element be played with absolute seriousness by the characters, even as the audience was invited to enjoy the story's self-aware humor. This approach allowed viewers to laugh with the film rather than at it, maintaining emotional investment in the characters' fates despite the obviously artificial fairy tale structure. The director's background in comedy proved essential for managing the film's satirical elements without undermining its genuine emotions. He understood that parody works best when it comes from love rather than cynicism, allowing The Princess Bride to celebrate fairy tale conventions while gently mocking their excesses. Reiner's collaborative approach encouraged actors to find truth within heightened circumstances. He created an atmosphere where performers could commit fully to seemingly ridiculous situations, because everyone understood they were serving a larger story about the power of narrative to create meaning and connection across generations. The frame story that made everything work, the grandfather-grandson framing device, featuring Peter Falk and Fred Savage, solved the fundamental problem of how modern audiences could accept fairy tale conventions without feeling manipulated or condescended to. This contemporary rapper acknowledged viewers' potential skepticism while inviting them to rediscover childlike wonder. Peter Falk's warm, patient grandfather created a safe space for both the boy and the audience to gradually accept the story's increasingly fantastic elements. His interruptions to explain or reassure never break the spell. Instead, they enhance investment by showing how stories adapt to their audience's needs and concerns. Fred Savage's initially reluctant grandson represented skeptical viewers who might resist fairy tale romance and adventure. His gradual engagement with the story models how audiences can move from cynical distance to emotional investment when storytelling respects their intelligence while appealing to their hearts. The frame story transforms The Princess Bride from simple entertainment into a meditation on storytelling itself. The interruptions highlight how narratives work, building suspense, creating character, investment, and using familiar elements in fresh ways. This meta-commentary makes the film both fairy tale and analysis of why fairy tales continue to captivate us. The villains who stole every scene. The Princess Bride's villains succeed because they're simultaneously threatening and ridiculous, creating antagonists who generate genuine stakes while contributing to the film's comedic tone. Each villain represents different types of evil, cowardice, cruelty, and arrogance, while remaining entertainingly over the top. Chris Sarandon's Prince Humperdinck embodies the ultimate coward, someone with absolute power who uses it only for petty personal advantage. His character satirizes authority figures who demand respect they haven't earned while creating real danger through his willingness to destroy others for trivial gains. Christopher Guest's Count Rugen is genuinely menacing despite his polite demeanor, representing evil that hides behind civilized appearance. His six-fingered hand makes him memorable, while his casual cruelty toward Inigo's father provides emotional stakes that ground the fantasy in real consequences. Wallace Shawn's Vizzini delivers exposition and comic relief while serving as the mastermind whose overconfidence becomes his downfall. His inconceivable catchphrase and battle of wits with Wesley demonstrate how intelligence without wisdom leads to defeat. These villains work because they're clearly defined, memorably performed, and perfectly scaled to the story's tone, dangerous enough to create real stakes, distinctive enough to be entertaining. The music that made magic feel real. Mark Knopfler's folk-influenced score perfectly balances whimsy with genuine emotion, creating musical landscapes that support both the story's fairy tale elements and its deeper themes about love, loss, and storytelling. His guitar-based approach gives the film a timeless, acoustic quality that feels both medieval and contemporary. The main theme's simple melody becomes increasingly complex as it's developed throughout the film, mirroring how the simple fairy tale story reveals deeper layers of meaning. Knopfler's use of unconventional instruments for a fantasy score, including Spanish guitar and folk percussion, creates a unique sonic palette that sets The Princess Bride apart from typical orchestral adventure films. The music supports character development through distinctive themes that evolve with the story. Inigo's Spanish-influenced motifs reflect his heritage and passion, while Wesley and Buttercup's romantic theme grows from tentative beauty to triumphant celebration as their love overcomes obstacles. Knopfler's restraint was crucial. The score never overwhelms dialogue or becomes overly sentimental, allowing the story's natural emotion to shine through. This subtle approach makes the few moments of full orchestral power incredibly effective, particularly during the film's climactic reunions and revelations. The legacy that conquered generations. The Princess Bride's initial box office performance was modest, but its cultural impact has grown exponentially through home video, television broadcasts, and word-of-mouth recommendation across multiple generations. The film's quotable dialogue has entered everyday conversation, with phrases like inconceivable, mostly dead, and as you wish, becoming part of shared cultural vocabulary. The movie's influence on subsequent fantasy and romantic comedy filmmaking is immeasurable. It proved that audiences would accept self-aware genre storytelling when handled with sufficient skill and genuine affection for the material being parodied. This approach influenced everything from Shrek to Marvel's superhero films. The Princess Bride's treatment of storytelling as a living, adaptive art form resonates particularly strongly in our current media landscape. The film's exploration of how stories connect generations and create shared meaning feels increasingly relevant as traditional narrative forms compete with newer entertainment options. Most importantly, the film demonstrates that sincerity and sophistication aren't mutually exclusive. It respects both fairy tale traditions and audience intelligence, creating entertainment that works for children discovering these stories for the first time, and adults rediscovering their capacity for wonder. This timeless quality ensures The Princess Bride will continue finding new audiences who need reminding that true love and happy endings are worth believing in. The next time you watch The Princess Bride, notice how each character's journey reflects different aspects of the storytelling experience. Observe how the framed story enhances rather than interrupts the fantasy, and appreciate how the film makes the impossible feel inevitable. What's your favorite Princess Bride quote, and why do you think the film's dialogue has become so culturally pervasive? How do you think the movie's themes about storytelling apply to our current entertainment landscape? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more explorations of cinema's most beloved masterpieces. Remember, true love and happy endings might seem inconceivable, but sometimes the best stories help us believe in both.